कितने पैसे चाहिए?
पैसा नहीं, इज्जत। मोहल्ले के चिरकुट लौंडे हरा रहे हैं फैंटेसी स्पोर्ट्स में। आप एक्सपर्ट हो, सिखाओ।
सिखाऊंगा तो जाने दोगे? हाँ।
फैंटेसी स्पोर्ट्स का
असली अखाड़ा।
इस गेम में वित्तीय जोखिम के तत्व हैं और इसकी लत लग सकती है। कृपया जिम्मेदारी से और अपने जोखिम पर खेलें।
Hello and welcome to the Outside View powered by Fantasy Akhada. Well, as we say in cricket, that the game is not over until the last ball is played. So, in the beginning, we thought that Sri Lanka are having an edge. They got to a very good start. Captain Chavaria Tapatu there, and Vishmi is supporting her well as well. But then we saw India making a comeback. And to discuss how the first inning has so far panned out, I have with me our experts Annesha, Ghosh and Mohit Shah. Welcome, both of you. So, as we all expected that we would get to see a Chamaria Tapatu special, the skipper did stood up for the side. Though the pace with which the innings came was probably a little slow, but that was needed for the side to get that kind of stability first. And Anisha?
Certainly, it was a decent approach to begin with, considering the collapse that they had and the all-round batting failure, save for that standout performance by Kavisha Bilhari in the first T20I. It was a prudent approach in terms of making sure that Vishmi Gunaratne, along with the senior pro, the captain Chamari Athapattu, laid the foundation. So, understandably, Chamari Athapattu was a bit circumspect early on. She remained runless for the first 6 overs. It was only in the seventh ball of her innings that she got off the mark, but did find some fluency in patches. But yes, clearly not one of those characteristic Chamari Atapathu knocks you would expect of her. 40 odd runs were scoring less than or at a run a ball. So not quite a trademark Chamari Atapattu innings, but it looked like it had done what Chamari Athapattu intended to do in terms of laying the platform, though unfortunately for Sri Lanka, there wasn't much of a support act coming after she got out in the 14th over. Fell to Pooja Vastrakar playing a shot that she would have fancied playing even in her sleep. It was in her zone, wanted to clear the deep square leg boundary, but didn't get the elevation, so fell to Pooja Vastrakar. But yeah, it does look like a sorry scorecard because, save for Chamari Atapattu and Vishmi Gunaratne's 40 odd knocks, we can only see single digit scores and a duck included. So they will be disappointed because having gotten the start they got, it was a much improved performance from them. Even in the power play, they had gotten 25 for 1 in the first 6 overs in the first T20. I managed to get 37 odd without losing any wickets in this game and had raced to 64, no loss in 10 overs. For them to have started along the way subsequently and gotten to 125 odd by the end of their 20 overs, it was a disappointing effort overall by the end of their innings.
As rightly put by you, that the batting performance was improved, but a sorry scorecard may be there, and the Sri Lankan batting unit would be a little bit concerned about it. So let's have a look at the scorecard, the first innings, as to how the Sri Lankan batting turned out in the first innings. Vishmi Gunaratne, 45 there, helping skipper Chamari Atapattu, who scored 43. And then, as Anusha rightly mentioned, we saw their single-digit score. Probably the Sri Lankan fans and the dugout would be expecting to get to see more of from the batters, so that we would have touched probably the 130 135 mark. But then it was a good effort by the Indian bowling unit, who came in and then they made a good comeback in the match. But of course, if we have to go through the bowling scorecard of India as well to see how things panned out there, then we saw that Deepti Sharma picked up 2 wickets in the match, and then 1 wicket for Renuka, Radha, Pooja, and Harmanpreet Kaur, the skipper, as well. Before we move on to India's bowling, let's quickly talk about Vishmi Gunaratne, Mohit. Batting with the skipper of the Sri Lankan side, she scored 45 runs. That would have been a confidence booster for the young talent.
Yeah, it would be a big confidence booster for her. And she's somebody who we will be seeing a lot of, not just at the senior level, but also possibly at the under 19 level with a World Cup coming up next year. She's somebody who will definitely be a part of that team and might be in a leadership position too. And to be facing bowlers of the highest quality, like a lot of these bowlers played in the last T20 World Cup final and are vastly experienced. So it is a very good challenge for her, and I think she gave a really good account of herself. she benefited a little bit initially with a few misfields and a couple of edges. But we have to remember that ultimately this is just a 16-year-old player who's still in the first few months of her international career. I think the way she handled spin in particular really stood out for me. And she's a very classical player, I felt like. The power game, obviously, in a 16-year-old player would not be there. It will come as she progresses, as she builds more strength. But all the basics and fundamentals are there in place. And you could see why she's such a prolific run getter in Sri Lankan domestic cricket. So there are all the ingredients there for her to have a very great and long career for Sri Lanka. Now all they need to do is like let her play with that freedom, give her a fixed batting position, and give her a long run, because she showed today that she's somebody who can easily bat through the 20 overs while scoring at a decent clip. I think the time at which she got out was a little unfortunate, deserved a 50 because she was probably the best batter today. So yeah, very, very impressive display by the young Vishmi Gunaratne.
Well, that was an impressive batting display from her for sure, but an impressive bowling display that came in from the Indian skipper Harmanpreet Kaur as well. She came in that middle over where it's more important to dry up runs, and that's when we saw that the Sri Lankan batters came into a pressure and probably the wicket then followed, Annesha.
Certainly, and we saw that India had used up four bowlers. That's quite a significant number of bowlers for a team to use up in the power play, which showed that it was testament to the fact that not everything was going according to their plans, because Vishmi Gunaratne and Chamari Athapattu were calling the shots at that point quite literally. But Harmanpreet Kaur brought herself on in the 13th over, put the brakes on, so to speak, and ended up with figures of 1 for 12 runs. That's a frugal, those are frugal numbers for any spinner, let alone a part timer, to return in a game. And for her to have even made sure that she was marshalling her resources decently, because India's ground fielding was reasonably well. We could see players cutting boundaries, Jemima Rodriguez, Renuka Singh, throwing themselves around. So for her to have brought herself on as the sixth spinner, as the sixth bowling option, they did not have Rajeshwari Gaikwad's services to rely on today. They had a seventh bowling option in Shafali Verma, whom they did not resort to, unlike the first T20I. And Jemima Rodriguez still remains very much a pure batter in this game, as she was in the first game as well. But Harmanpreet did perform exceedingly well, choking Sri Lanka with her part-time off spin, and reasonably taking the wicket of Vishmi Gunaratne to round out her innings with the ball today.
Definitely, and that's how the first innings have turned up. So, of course, we know that we have a lot of depth into the Indian batting unit. So the target there seems quite less challenging, but you never know. We aren't predicting things until we see the second innings get wrapped up there. But to ask to our experts and get to know how are the things going to pan out in the second innings. Coming to you, Mohit, first. So, what your pick of the batter from the Indian side today, and what is your prediction on the match result?
I think Sri Lanka have put up a good total, but I don't think it will be enough because it's not in that 140 plus range that we were talking about for it to be competitive. So I think India should see the chase through in probably 17 or 18 overs. And my pick for the top batter would be S. Meghna, purely because she has been in very good form, got out in a slightly soft manner in the last match, but she's a very good player of pace and an equally good player of spin. Think we will see her again batting at number 3. I think India might lose an early wicket or so she will have a lot of time to make an impact. So yeah, S. Meghna would be my pick for the top batter today, and India winning in 17 or 18 overs.
Your thoughts on that, Anisha?
I think this total will certainly challenge India, but won't be enough for Sri Lanka to get that win on the board or for them to level the series. It would be interesting to see how India approach this target, because on the one hand, the Ramesh Pawar era has all been about approaching innings with aggression, being proactive, not just in fielding, in terms of captaincy, but also with batting. So do they go out there with the intention of scoring the runs as quickly as possible, given they know that they have their nose ahead in the series? They already are one up in this 3-match engagement. So whether they go out all guns blazing or instead adopt a more circumspect approach and just try and deal with the target more reasonably, with batters digging their heels in and just trying to score at close to a runner ball, or maybe at a strike rate higher than 100. That's something I am personally looking forward to. And Smriti Mandhana did not have a good game in the previous innings, in the previous match. Is this her day? Is today her day? Does she make amends for that early dismissal she faced in the previous game? That remains to be seen. And if Smriti Mandhana fires and Shefali Verma functions at one gear, we know that pretty well. So if Smriti Mandhana is able to join the party today, I think not just will the series be in the bag, but it will give them a lot of confidence as a batting unit overall as well, given they have gotten some performances from the lower order in the likes of Deepti Sharma and Jemima Rodriguez, and Shefali Verma scoring a run about 31 in the previous game. So for the other batters to join in the action today would be their aim, and also to show some of that aggression, knowing this is Sri Lanka, relatively weaker side as we spoke of heading into the series. Do they make a statement heading into that Commonwealth Games, given this is the second last T20I that they play, and this is going to be a good opportunity for them to show, yes, they've got what it takes to wrap up a target of 126 as quickly as they within 14-15 overs.
So Mohit has predicted that Sabine Megna is someone to watch out for in this innings, and Smriti Mandhana, of course, everybody of us are a special coming in from her. That's the predictions from our experts. Let's see how it pans out. Is India going to win the series and seal the deal for themselves, or are Sri Lanka pulling some stunner? Let's see, and we'll join you for the post-match show. Until then, you stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates on women's cricket.
ये पट्टा
अब सीख तो गए, अब तो जाने दो मुझे।
ठहर जाइए, कोई प्रॉब्लम वॉब्लम हो गई तो कहाँ ढूंढेंगे आपको?
फैंटेसी अखाड़ा का 24/7 कस्टमर सर्विस है, आपकी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करवा देंगे।
कल जाने देंगे।
फैंटेसी स्पोर्ट्स का असली अखाड़ा।
इस गेम में वित्तीय जोखिम के तत्व हैं और इसकी लत लग सकती है। कृपया जिम्मेदारी से और अपने जोखिम पर खेलें।